The rents went from $50 to $100 up to $500 a foot on West 14th Street. Then the street gets proliferated by the likes of Levi's and Asics and Lululemon, and it starts losing its character. Great for business, great for the landlord, not great for the community. Such a hard thing in retail real estate. It's having that balance of being able to keep mom and pops and the grit and coolness of a neighborhood while also elevating the value of your real estate through tenants that can afford to pay higher rents and have credit. What do people care about more than their own life story or their family's life stories? That's what
100%.
means something, not this building or not this next store. If that comes next, what happened first is just so much more meaningful that what happens next becomes much more possible.
Jared Epstein, my man.
Nice to see you, my
Thanks for
friend.
coming on.
My pleasure, my honor.
Definitely the toughest guest to schedule in the Broker Brunch podcast history. We have gone to all sorts of lengths to make this happen.
Well, I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
Heat, humidity, and traffic, and I made it.
And so far, you've been totally worth the wait.
Oh, wow.
So,
thank you.
In the pink sneakers and everything.
I have them on.
You've showed up. Mitch, how are you doing?
Great. Beautiful day in New York. A bit hot out there, but it's good to be here.
Oh, it's too hot for me, for sure.
So when and I've done, like I said, I did my homework on Jared Epstein.
Sure.
And one thing that I keep hearing from people that I ask about you is that you've got an ability to connect with people that's very unique to you. And it seems like one of the biggest reasons for your success has been through your ability to build relationships. So what do you think people are referring to when they talk about that ability to connect?
I'm a huge empath, which has its positives, which is connecting with people, but also it has its deep negatives. Your emotions are hyper sensitive. So it allows you to connect with people on a very deep level. When you're connected with people on a very deep level and they end up being a little bit different than you thought they were, you get disappointed on a level that is just so profound. Your highs can be really high. Your lows can be really low. So it's something I don't talk about often, but it's something that I deal with every day. But yes, it's definitely a huge part of my success in business and in life.
You feel things.
Beyond, yeah. Scope.
That's got to be a heavy, like almost. I feel like what you're alluding to is it's a blessing and a curse almost, right?
100%,
right?
100%. Yes, it allows me to connect with people, build really meaningful relationships. Like I'm just basically meeting. I don't think I've ever met you before.
Yeah,
I've only met you in passing, and I'm sure that after today's conversation, you'll feel like you know me on a deep level, and we'll end up having a relationship. And that's just how it works for me. In my phone, I think I have over 17,000 contacts. Wow. And if we go through them, I know things about them that you would be shocked. I take notes on people. This is from the time I was a nightclub promoter. And I wanted to remember things about each person that I met, because at night when you're out, you might be inebriated, they are. And, the likelihood of you remembering who they were and what stood out to you about them is very low. So during the night when I was out, or very early the next morning, I go back into the contact and say, all right, this guy does this. He's interested in that. This girl, she's a blonde. She's cute. So that's been something that I think differentiates me from many people. It's interesting because someone new to our firm, a guy named Brian Feldman, he's on our acquisitions team, a new hire. He was at Vornado and then Acre, and he came to us maybe like 9-10 months ago. And we were having a candid conversation the other day about his, qualities and how he's doing and what he might be able to do better. And it quickly turns into like this whole emotional 1-hour conversation. And he says to me, and it was really flattering, he said, I've worked with a lot of, very, influential people in real estate, very high up executive level guys, and been around many of them as well. And I've never met anyone like you. You're you're just different. And I see why you're so successful, and it's because you actually really care. And that's why you have these kind of relationships. And beyond that, you're like a visionary. You know, you see things before they are going to happen. Like you have an idea that other people are just missing. So that was really, you know, I was humbled to hear that from someone that I respect very quickly that's at our company.
If you've been wondering what types of deals we've been working on,
We made it easy for you. Just click on the link, show notes below.
we're talking real deals and real opportunities.
Whether you're an investor or owner or just curious to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Just click the link below and it'll bring you right to all of our available inventory.
I think the ability to be vulnerable people really helps you connect, as you're mentioning. I imagine that compliment is a very high, that no one could give you a better compliment than that. So.
That's a pretty great one. I receive compliments from my mom all the time. Jared, it's not just your mind, it's your heart. Like, that's like what really separates you. I've been hearing that from her my whole life, but obviously your mom is probably your biggest fan. Yeah, so it definitely was a flattering comment that I'll always appreciate.
So you mentioned Meatpacking. We chatted about it a little off air. So let's just dive in there. So if you go back to the 90s, you were a nightclub promoter in the Meatpacking district. And it was all, I'm sure, cold meats hanging everywhere and meat hooks and dive bars and just crazy stuff going on down there.
Yes.
You're this young hustler kid. You're promoting nightclubs. Mm-hmm. At what point did you look around and say, this area could be so much more?
I never thought about real estate when I was in that role in that business, but the neighborhood itself always spoke to me. I had an emotional connection with the neighborhood. It had history, the wide open plazas, the cobblestone streets, its proximity to Soho, Flatiron, Union Square, the Hudson River Park. It had all these elements of nature, which I'm very attracted to as a person, and elements of emotion, the blood, the meat, the fact that there were like sex clubs there back in the 80s and early 90s, to then becoming like this nightlife zone with Lotus and Son Cubano and Marked, which was a restaurant where Apple currently is.
Hogs and Heifers
on Washington Street. Yes.
The imagery of Meatpacking really is what sells it, I think.
100%. And like I was telling you before, it's lost some of that or a lot of that. And while myself, my partner, our team are what's the right word? Are attributed with its success. I also take responsibility in the fact that while it can be viewed as a luxury, great neighborhood, we get applauded all the time and honored. Oh, the Meatpacking District, so great what you did there. It's missing part of its soul, which again hurts me in like a profound way. So the next iteration is to bring back nightlife. And I'm really happy that Michael Cayre, who is my partner Bobby's first cousin and very good friend, opened Chez Margot on West 13th Street, just west of 9th Avenue. Great for the neighborhood. You know, a new supper club, brings back people at night. Delilah is going to be opening on the corner of 14th and 9th.
The same one is in Vegas?
Same one is in Vegas and the Wynn, and in LA. It has a lot of character.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It has
Great Gatsby kind of feel to it. Yeah.
It's excellent that that's coming to the neighborhood. And Bagatelle is going to reopen on 14th Street. Maybe Provocateur, if they can get out of their own way, will open on 15th Street. They signed this lease like pre-COVID. And I'm hoping that we're able to find other tenants that can fill. It has to be unique space in the neighborhood. Like maybe it's an upper floor with a small ground floor entrance, like what Delilah and Chez Margot also have. You enter on the ground and then you go right downstairs into a voluminous space that has a lot of character, great architecture that was brought into the project that may make people feel good while they're down there. Because the ground floor rents, you know, again, due to our success, the rents have, you know, soared again. They had gone from maybe like $50 to $100 a foot when Jeffrey was there, after Jeffrey came on the north side of 14th Street, and then Stella McCartney and Alexander McQueen And then all the landlords get greedy, and the rents went from $50 to $100 up to $500 a foot on West 14th Street. Then the street gets proliferated by the likes of Levi's and Asics and Lululemon, and it starts losing its character. And then Marked, that restaurant I referred to before, gets replaced by Apple. Great for business, great for the landlord, not great for the community.
You become a victim of your own success at that point.
That's such a hard thing in retail real estate. I think it's one of the most difficult things is having that balance of being able to keep mom and pops and the grit and coolness of a neighborhood while also elevating the value of your real estate through tenants that can afford to pay higher rents and have credit. It's something that we struggle with daily. We were able to put Pastis onto Gansevoort Street at a below market rent because it was just so important to the soul of the neighborhood. And we believe that them being in the neighborhood would continue the momentum that we were trying to build. It was a great move. It ended up, bringing Hermes and Brunello Cucinelli and Saint Laurent and Audemars Piguet and a great office tenant, Match Group. But the rents on the street now are $500 to $600 a foot. And it's hard as a landlord that, needs to make, financial decisions, strong financial decisions to accept rents from a tenant that are, far below what market rent is, and maybe even companies that don't have any credit. Maybe they can give you like a 6-month letter of credit instead of a corporate guarantee from a behemoth. So like I said, that's like the delicate balance. And we talk about that every day.
It seems like that's almost your version of investing back into the neighborhood by giving someone a chance like that, like a below market rent. You are looking at this totally different than somebody who's just coming in and looking at the bottom line. I feel like this neighborhood is you. It's probably going to be your legacy as well when you look back on it.
Right.
And you're probably looking beyond the dollars, which I commend you for, because we live and we work in a business that's very much about profit.
100%. And I think that's one of the things that allows the meatpacking district, hopefully what we'll see the next evolution is that it enables the neighborhood to be more of a diverse community in terms of like the tenancy. Soho, for example, is like, to me, the exact opposite. Soho has many, many, many landlords. We own 7 or 8 buildings, but there's not many landlords that own more than that. It's many owners that own one piece of real estate, one retail condo, and they're all out to get the most bang for the buck, whether it be a cannabis shop, a bank, a pharmacy. And those types of things, if they come into a neighborhood and proliferate the neighborhood, it really kills retail, kills the vibe. No one wants to be there. So we've fought like aggressively against cannabis coming into our neighborhood, aggressively against banks coming into our neighborhood. We've received offers from everyone you can imagine. And luckily, there's been enough demand, or almost enough demand, to keep everything full. We only have one retail vacancy. That's like a space that's active, live, like you can go move into it tomorrow. That's available. That's 1,300 square feet out of maybe a portfolio in the meatpacking of 250 to 300,000 square feet of retail. We then have one other new acquisition, new building that we acquired a couple of years ago on the corner of 13th and 9th. It's we call it like the mini Flatiron, the corner building.
I know the building.
It's on its own little island, Dos Caminos.
It's a cool building.
There. It's very cool. But that one takes a lot of vision and a massive redevelopment. I think that needs to commence for us to land the right tenant. So I don't even consider that a vacancy. Actually, it's not even vacant. We have retailers that are there to this day. So yeah, that's one vacancy. And then unfortunately for some of the other owners in the neighborhood, 14th Street's really become almost like a ghost town. But getting back to reinvesting in the community, it goes far and beyond, renting space at below market rents for retailers. So one of the main differences between the Meatpacking District and other neighborhoods, including Soho, Madison Avenue, Fifth Avenue, 34th Street, 42nd Street, I'm hitting on like all the major retail thoroughfares in Manhattan, is that we control maybe 30 to 40% of the whole neighborhood of the Meatpacking District. And then there's also Google that controls like even more. So there's like two major landlords when there isn't, and many, many, many landlords own a single piece or just a handful of pieces within a neighborhood. They're really looking to maximize their return on their particular investment because there's only one of them or two of them or three of them. And what happens is, many tenants are not perfect for a neighborhood. They don't create the right traffic or bring the right customer base to the neighborhood. This goes for like cannabis companies, pharmacies, banks, and you'll see if you go to the Meatpacking District, there are none of those. They've all come to us on many of our best locations throughout the neighborhood. Unfortunately for them, and maybe for us, to our detriment financially, we turn them all down. And if we know that they're looking in the neighborhood, we'll call every landlord that we know and say, while this might be great for you now, it's not great for you long term. And many landlords within the neighborhood, this resonates with, and they listen to us. The other interesting thing about the Meatpacking District, which is very different from all of these other neighborhoods, the balance of the real estate is controlled by families that were in the meatpacking business or something similar to it, maybe a produce business. And they have like a huge emotional connection to the real estate. And touching on that, sorry, I knew a lot, and touching on that of the emotional connection, I think that's why I've been able to accumulate so much real estate in that particular neighborhood, because I am an empath and have like this emotional connection to the neighborhood. I also have it to their properties, right? So, and I always tell people when I meet with them, if you're looking to sell your property, I'm not the right guy. I'm not good at buying real estate. You know why? I don't think you should sell your building. Your building's not maximized its value. It has air rights. It's underutilized. It needs to be repositioned. I'm great at that. If you want to do a joint venture, I'm the best. I'll get you to do it because I care, and I'm going to prove that I'm great. Me and my team are excellent at developing the property, leasing the property, getting it through landmarks, DOB, financing the property. And once I was able to do it, me and my team once, it turns into the next guy or the next family deciding not only to do one, but to do five. And one of those families is the Gottlieb estate, which was notoriously difficult to break into for even a tenant to lease space. A lot of their space was just left sitting there for so many decades. We were able to get in there and do one deal, one joint venture. It's turned into us now being partners with the estate on maybe 30 plus properties, every single development site that they had, every single building that was in disrepair. Started with one on the corner of Little West 12th and 9th Avenue, where Pastis was located, and a second-story garage. We quickly created a plan, went to landmarks, the DOB, got approvals. It was very contentious, very difficult to do. Landed Gary Friedman, the CEO, was a friend of mine, so landed RH.
Okay.
They opened up this mega gallery. It's beautiful and amazing. And then the family said to us, well, let's do this together, 40 10th Avenue. And we said, okay, if we're going to do 40 10th Avenue, which was a piece of dirt and an old building that needed to be demolished, then let's talk about Gansevoort Street, which was like, for me, the prize. The prize of the portfolio was the opportunity, and you mentioned like legacy, the opportunity to redevelop an entire block in Manhattan in what I believe to be like the coolest neighborhood in the city. Wow. And we were able to do it and accomplished something, incredible that I hope my two sons and their children will always, remember and think about me as part of the reason that block is what it is, basically.
Thanks for listening to the Broker Brunch. We've now brought you a ton of episodes and we hope we're providing a lot of value. If you have any ideas of people you'd like to see on future episodes, please drop it in the comments so we can make it happen. You're talking about real estate, but I feel like it's all relationships with you, right? And that's so hard to do, and I think Mitch will agree with this. Trying to break into New York City, we're all kind of outsiders here. Mitch is from London, I'm from Ireland,
Sure.
You're from New Jersey,
Yep.
but we weren't born into this.
Definitely not.
And I think we've all used our own skill sets to break in.
There are many different ways.
There are many ways to do it, and
Yeah.
Personally, I find the relationships the most fascinating or the most interesting because it's a level playing field,
And everyone's different.
and everyone's different, and what works for you won't work for me, or
Correct.
what works for me mightn't work for Mitch, and it's just coming up with your own formula. So if I trace back that part where you were promoting nightclubs.
Yes.
And you made a pivot into real estate.
Sure.
Can you talk about that pivot into real estate?
Simple, yeah. Well, first I just want to say that I've come across every color, creed, race, look, character-wise,
They're all here in New York.
people that are crazy, people that are brilliant, people that are weird.
Believe it or not, I actually sold a nightclub in the Bronx once, and that was an
This is a
interesting
great story. Tell us that story.
It's an old industrial building. It's
Sure.
a Tropicana nightclub,
Yeah.
and I met the owner there of the nightclub, and
Sure.
he turned up in a black SUV Cadillac with the gold chain, gold teeth,
Love it.
and here I am, some sort of like random guy from England walking up, and I remember seeing the nightclub. It was like, oh god, things that must have happened in here.
Right.
I would never forget that. It was a great experience actually.
Very cool. Yeah, I love nightlife, mostly due to that fact, but it's actually found in real estate. I find it in real estate every single day. For example, I was with this gentleman from Poland yesterday who owns some great pieces in Williamsburg, and he used to own in Greenpoint, and he still owns real estate in Poland. And when I met with him, I was told this guy's extremely difficult. He really doesn't, like talking to people too long. He's like kind of cagey.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he will do a joint venture with anyone, focus on a ground lease.
I feel like I know this guy. It's just like you meet this all the time.
First of all, I ended up staying in this guy's apartment, talking to him for 3 hours.
Wow.
Okay. It was supposed to be like 10, 15 minutes, 3 hours. We're hugging by the end of our session there, I'll call it.
You cracked the nut.
Yeah, and that was not my goal. I didn't go there like saying to myself, all right, I got to convert this guy into doing a joint venture or selling his property or even getting a ground lease like to the next step. I went there like interested in meeting this human being. And I was genuinely interested. I'm looking at his apartment, and there's all these old paintings and tchotchkes everywhere. I sit down and I say, forget what we're here to talk. I want to hear your story. Like, I'm fascinated. And that's usually like part of how I start a conversation with people when I meet them. We didn't have the time to do that today. We will next time.
We're doing it live on air.
Yeah. And that would take hours, right? And maybe we'll follow that up next time. I'll interview you guys, which often happens. I like turn the tables. I love asking, and you ask 20 questions, I ask 100.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing conversation. We ended up knowing a couple of people because the world's a small place, right? And by the end of the session, like I said, not only were we hugging and laughing and making dinner plans from when he comes back to Poland. He's like, listen, I said, no, I'd do a joint venture with you.
People put these guards up because they've been burnt in the past, or they have a preconceived notion about what this is.
Yes.
And I feel like it's very rare that I come out of a meeting with someone. It's actually basically never that the relationship is not in a better place than where it was when we went in. And that's why I love brokers, is because we put ourselves out there.
Yes.
Almost we throw our bodies into it.
You have
to.
to.
And we know that we're going to get rejected. And we know that someone could be cruel. But people generally, this is super sweeping statement, but people generally are not cruel. And people respect you showing up, giving them the time and hearing them.
And that's everything.
And listening to their story. And I think I used to, when I had a big pitch, I'd be up all night. What am I going to say? or
studying.
And if he goes left, I'll go right.
Right.
If he says this, I'll say that.
Yes.
I was going to volley everything, and I was going to be prepared.
Sure.
And then as I did 50, did 100 pitches, all of a sudden I found my voice.
And you were comfortable.
And it wasn't even about the questions or me knowing the information.
What you prepped for, right?
Like nothing would come up. It was all about what questions did I ask. And if you just have the right questions and you listen and then you follow the bouncing ball where it goes, rather if you have your agenda when you go in, and you might be sitting down with a major tenant and talking about something, but there's a story behind everyone, and everyone has their own agenda.
That's what do people care about more than their own life story or their family's life stories, right? 100%. That's what means something, not this building or not this next store. That if that comes next, what happened first is just so much more meaningful that what happens next becomes much more possible.
Exactly. And the building is just the bricks.
Yes.
Right. It's just that happens to be the physical representation of what we're
trying to do.
But it's really nothing got to do with that.
And you're right.
It's all about what's your vision?
Yep.
What's my vision? How can we do it? Do I trust you?
Trust is huge.
Are you going to do what you said you're going to do? Do what you say. Matthew McConaughey, who I see everywhere now, he was like, do what you say what you do.
And that's a reputation. If we don't have a stellar reputation, I don't know how you do business. I see guys that they burn people, they reinvent themselves. But for me, it's all about character and reputation and being a man of your word, going above and beyond, under-promising, over-delivering. You mentioned something about questions, and it's all about also, I learned from a young age, one mouth, two ears. And that's just, that statement rings true. And if you really think about it and you sit back and just let the other person speak, you'll learn more, right?
I want to talk about partnerships because Mitchell and me are constantly working on our partnerships. So we joined together because we have two funny accents, and we came.
Sounds like marriage therapy.
It is like, but it's like your business marriage, right?
Love.
And you don't love each other all the time, but you gotta like have that level of respect. And even though it's like, we're totally not seeing this the right way, but ultimately we have the same goals, we have the same vision, and there's a mutual level of respect.
Yes.
And I feel like you can take that for granted, but you have to keep working on it.
It's something that I work on every day, and I believe my partner Bobby Cayre does too. We could not be more different. Our values are the same. We're both, we care about people. We want to make the world a better place. We love our families.
So you start with what you have in common.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what we have in common. So my business partner at Aurora Capital is Bobby Cayre. He and I couldn't be more different. We have some similarities, our tradition, our love of family, our love of creation and creativity. After that, there's not much that we're similar on. I'm extremely aggressive. He's extremely passive in terms of like doing new, doing more. He came from a very affluent family, although you would never he does not exude cockiness or entitlement or being better than someone. Not at all. He's great with that. That's something that I just love about him. And
that sounds like pure class. And
he's one of the classiest guys I know, one of the most intelligent guys I know, one of the most hardworking guys I know. He seems like, he's been on this earth for 100 years,
He's got wisdom.
He's got wisdom, class, and he's ultra mature. I'm like Peter Pan.
Is he similar age to you?
He is 2.5 years older than me. He just turned 48. I turned 46 in October. And like I said, I seem probably 20 years younger than the guy. Whenever someone learns his age and they know me, they're like, how could he be 48 and you're going to be 46? Like, that's not possible. I guess I'm like fun at heart. He's more serious at most times, especially
stoic
business. Yes.
Yes.
While if you see him or in a party, at an event, even in a room with 10 people, he is the star of the show. He's incredibly
Oh,
handsome.
really?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was much more.
Oh, he's incredibly handsome. He's incredibly cool. He's witty. He's got it all. This kid has it all. However, he'd rather not be there.
Wow.
He's an introvert.
That makes him even more attractive, I'm sure, to people.
To people.
Thank you for listening to The Broker Brunch. If you enjoy the show, please hit subscribe so we can reach more people.
To girls, to everything. It's wild. So rare. But then there's me. I'm a little fatter. I'm not as handsome, maybe.
You're a handsome dude.
But
Go on.
maybe a little bit. But when we're with a group, it's, Bob, especially women, Bobby, you're like a movie star. And I'm just...
I have friends like that.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like,
God.
When I was younger and not around this guy, I was like the guy.
Right.
Now I'm just like the fat guy in the corner.
But isn't it good to put yourself with people who you feel like you aspired or bring you to a new level?
Yes, but I never knew it was going to be like this. I didn't know who Bobby Cayre was. I met him once 4 years earlier when I started with him. Knew he seemed handsome, had some money maybe because he said his family owns real estate. Didn't know about his personality, character, nothing like that. God has a plan, and thank God, God has blessed me in incredible ways. And one of those ways is with Bobby Cayre. He looks after me. He is patient with me. He makes me a better man, not just a better business professional, all of the time. I mean, even recently, there was like a little animosity at the office between a couple of guys, and I had to get involved. And he said, he basically told me that you have to, step back and understand that people are different, and what you think is right in a situation, maybe they see it a different way. So he just, he elevates me. And I think I elevate him too in certain ways.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. And it's just like a perfect match, I guess, even though we're nothing alike. I have vision. He cares more about the numbers. I care about relationships. He cares about the operations, which I have no interest in. I'll get a deal done and he'll say, well, Jared, the document doesn't say this. Didn't you read this? I'm like, well, not really, but I know what it's supposed to say.
Right.
So he's very detail oriented, and I'm just all about, hard vision and relationships.
Sorry, just circling. Sorry, I was going to move on to real estate. You finish your
please do. Yeah.
So we're talking about real estate and meatpacking, which is sexy.
Sure.
Compared to our world, which is not so sexy. Uptown in the Bronx, like workforce, retail.
Sure.
But people love it. People call us all the time looking to buy this type of retail product. Particularly during COVID, I remember like supermarkets were doing really well. People weren't really leaving the neighborhoods, so the cash flow of these buildings, they're less management intensive than a stabilized building. So the demand for these small taxpayer single-story retail buildings has grown through the roof in recent years.
Sure.
Curious, have you looked at anything in the boroughs, or do you have a perception or view on that?
So in terms of the boroughs, I've been looking at the area. I probably shouldn't be saying this because it's going to make even more people look at it. But the area from like Williamsburg to Greenpoint, and I know both of those markets are already, sexy and developed and residential and retail, but there's a pocket in between. I'm not going to say exactly what the pocket is, but I think it has a lot of potential. It reminds me of what the Meatpacking district was 25 years ago. The zoning isn't perfect for what my vision is, but I think there's a potential rezoning there. It's also controlled by only a few players, which makes it possible that if you were able to do something with them, you could really effectuate change.
You like that, right?
I love that. And it's right here. It's, in an area a few miles from the city that I think just has so much character and can be so cool. It's already cool just based on like the streetscape and the historic nature of these properties, but I think I could bring a level of panache to it.
Love that word.
Epstein touch. I like that.
A little Epstein touch to make it to bring it to the next level.
Nice.
There's a quote that I'm trying to remember. So who said this? Luck happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Oh yeah. Got it. I don't know who said that, but I'll tell you another thing. I'm a huge Colorado Buffs fan, booster, very connected to the program on like a level that, you know, few and far have with any sports program, unless like the owner of the team. And Dion always says, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good.
That's good.
Okay?
You gotta write that one down.
And yeah, he has so many great lines. You should follow Dion, Coach Prime. He likes to be called now that he's at the university. Another brilliant guy, a mentor to me. You know, I started following him as soon as Colorado was lucky enough to hire him as their head coach. This guy is not just a solid football coach. He's an incredible mentor, preacher to young men, to older men, to families, to business leaders. He has a book that's unbelievable. And, you know, I try to live my life to emulate, you know, the things that he says.
You mentioned mentors there, and I'm glad you did, because that's a huge part of our business as well, mentorship. And we have mentors, and we've just started trying to mentor the next wave. So we're kind of fresh off having mentors, and now all of a sudden, to some people, we are the mentor. And I always thought it would be easier, because I said I could do that better, you know, and being the number one guy is like, I would bring something to it, but I also feel like it's so much tougher than I thought or would have imagined.
Right.
And it sounds like Bobby was, you know, you would consider a mentor.
I would say he is like maybe one of the most recent mentors or final mentors. He's my mentor in maybe different ways. I would say more than just business. He's much more of like a father figure. Even though he's only 2 years older than me, I see him, and I've even called him dad before, which is kind of weird, right? This guy's like...
Was this into Meatpacking at 3 a.m.?
No, at my office. I'm like, Dad, because he talks to me that way as if I'm like one of his sons.
Right.
Which is really wild. And that's how I see him, like almost like, not my dad, not my actual father, but the advice that he gives me is fatherly. Which is really amazing.
Your own father has played a huge part in shaping you as well.
My father, hard worker, every day was getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, leaving within like a half hour to drive into Manhattan from Marlboro, hour plus commute every single day, 5 days a week, and coming home usually early-ish because he got into the office by like 6 a.m. He'd be leaving at like 4. Back then it wasn't that crazy to leave at 4 in terms of traffic. Now if you left at 4, you'd be clobbered. But this was 5 days a week, then working at home when he got home on his calculator and in his green large books where he'd write all the numbers in, counting checks, just wild. And my mom also, like a very hard worker for the majority of her life. But what I really picked up from my dad more than even his work ethic was how his clients beloved him. I'd go with him, you know, on some of these meetings, and whether it was a man, a woman, a very wealthy individual or not, they all like just got a kick out of my dad. Like they cared for him.
Why did they love him?
He just has a big heart. He's very boisterous. He'll do more for anyone than they would do for him all the time. His children, his grandchildren, and every client. He just connected with people similar to like...
It sounds like someone that I just got to know.
Yeah, exactly. And then my mom, different, as big of a heart, cares so much about people, is more introverted, but also very hardworking. And the way she loves me is on another level.
Love that. So listen, I know it's summertime here. It's June. It's hot out. And, you know, we talked a lot about relationships, and I know you're probably getting out of here today, so I appreciate your time. But before we wrap, the most important relationship of all is your family, right? And I think a big reason why it was difficult to get the schedules to line up is because you're a very committed family man. So you have you have a lot of obligations outside of here. How much is your wife, your kids, your family shaped your success?
Okay, so before I started working with Bobby, I was at Newmark, and before that I was a nightclub promoter. Even at Newmark, out almost every night, drinking, hanging out till all hours of the night. My girlfriend comes into my life, who became my fiance and now my wife. Doesn't drink, doesn't like to party, doesn't like to stay out all night. That one change in my life affected everything positively. I stopped being out at night. I stopped drinking so much. I focused on work and on her and on family. And it took me to the next level in terms of like my relationships with people, with work, with myself. You know, drinking is just not a great thing for anybody. And neither is being out till 4 or 5 in the morning or walking in at 7 in the morning. Well, you know, and
balance, right?
Yeah, totally.
We're back. Another season of the Broker Brunch podcast. Summertime in New York. We've got a lot of exciting conversations coming up. We hope you enjoy listening.
There's a time and a place, and I can relate to it. I'm 36, so
sure.
In my 20s, it was all about that.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was fun.
Yep.
But then it runs its course as well. And I got with my now wife, girlfriend at the time, young. You know, I was in like my 20s, and
right. Me too, 26.
And I know Mitch was similar as well. It just brings a wholeness, I guess,
totally,
to your life that wasn't there.
Right. And then we got our dog, and having our dog was like having a child. God rest her soul, she's gone, because me and my wife have been together for, it'll be 20 years in 2026. So I started dating her in 2006. I didn't get married for a while. That's another story. But we had our dog. Then we had our first son. Then our second son. Then a new dog, because the other one passed, and now a second dog. And being around my family as much as I can is vital to who I am, you know, what I want to be, and not just my own like inner circle, but also my parents, my sister's family, her father, my father-in-law, which became like one of my greatest friends. I always joke around, but it's partly true. Like, part of the reason I married my wife is I love this guy so much. He's so cool. He's so fun. And I was like, I need this guy to be around. So I got to marry this girl.
It was like a bonus part of the package. Yeah.
Maybe she was the bonus. I don't know. We're actually celebrating his 80th birthday tonight in my apartment.
Nice.
I just can't wait to like celebrate his life. He's still another guy. He still comes to the city 4 days a week. He lives in Westport, Connecticut. He drives every day in and back. And then on the weekend, there's not a weekend that he doesn't come to see us in the Hamptons, and we're there almost like every weekend.
He's a savage, it sounds like.
Wow. And he's nonstop. He's on his phone with buyers. You know, he's a Garmento, and one of the last like Garmentos, such a
wheeler dealer.
Oh, wheeler dealer on his phone. Then he has his iPad, and he's looking at trading stocks. It's only like 10 shares at a time, but he must make 100 trades a day, right? And then at night, there's whatever football or baseball or basketball game is on. It could be a preseason game. He's betting. He's locked in. He controls the remote control. There's no taking it away from him. And we're stuck watching some game that means absolutely nothing. And he's screaming at the TV. When the market closes CNBC, he watches it for another 2 hours. He's watching the news all day. I mean, it's like this guy's on another level. But he's a lot of fun. He's a character.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Behind every successful man is a good woman.
Yes. They say, I don't remember exactly who said it. It's a huge business titan, but he said it, and it was very simple. The most important deal you'll make in your life is the person you married.
Sure.
That's the most important.
That was it Buffett or Charlie?
Yes, I think it was Charlie.
It was Charlie Munger.
I think it was Charlie.
Because he's got some real zingers like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that he had, I think it was him. It was like, if you want to figure out how a business should survive, think of all the ways to destroy it.
Yes.
And then work backwards.
I like that.
So, like a partnership, you and Bob's way of destroying the business might be a partnership dispute.
Correct.
All right. So how do we not do that? Right?
Yep.
Maybe we go
or if
dinner
you get
once
there,
a
how do you
maybe
fix it?
How do we fix it? Right. So you have to come up with rules that, because stuff will happen.
Totally.
And that's coming from Charlie Munger, who was partners with Warren Buffett for whatever.
And I'm not great at that. I'm not exceptional at planning ahead or figuring out strategies on that.
It's my biggest weak spot.
Problems.
Yeah, it's like even planning like a party or something. I love going to the party.
Yep.
The idea of actually putting the pieces together.
It's difficult.
It's so manufactured. I'm just like, I can't deal with it.
It's very hard. I'm good at the party part. But planning ahead for problems, not my strong suit.
So before we let you go, I got one last question that I want to ask. And if relationships in you, it seems like, that's the theme of this. if you could talk to a young, hustling Jared and tell him one thing about relationships, what would it be?
Oh, about relationships? I probably wouldn't tell him about relationships because Jared already knows about that. The things that I would probably tell him about would be, work even harder, stay later, read more.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Yeah. And I'm not a person that loves to read. Oh, listen to podcasts. I have friends that do this on the regular, and, the things that they talk about, I'm like, well, where'd you learn that? Oh, I listen to this podcast every time I'm in my car. It's an hour. When I go running 5 miles, another thing I don't do, I'm listening to a podcast, and it's just great. And I'm like, man, when I'm in my car, all I want to do is listen to my music. I just put it right on. Whether it's the Grateful Dead or this guy Juice WRLD that my kids introduced me to, I'm listening to music. I just love it. It flows through my body. And then if I am working out, which certainly doesn't happen enough, I'm listening to music. So
curiosity for knowledge. It sounds like.
Yeah, totally. Curiosity for knowledge would definitely be something I would have told myself, and being faithful to yourself, like what it is that you want, what it is that you care about. It takes some time, I think, in life to figure out how important that is.
Yeah. I agree. Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time.
My honor.
You're the man, Jared. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
guys.